Hello, and welcome to Bad Lit Friends, the writing podcast that still barely knows what it's doing. I'm your host, Kirk Rafferty, and this is my co host.
I am Meagan Thompson-Mann. And this week, we are taking on everybody's favorite
Threads?
BookTok.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Threads. No, oh God, do not get me started on Threads. Threads is probably number 2 on my most wanted list after BookTok. I don't talk about BookTok a lot on this
Yeah. But we're
show
talking about Book Talk today.
but it's for a reason. It's because my heart is full of hate, and I'm ready to share it with you.
Well, you're a
Yeah,
writer.
I am a writer
Yes.
of some small renown.
It is one of those accepted things that to be a writer, your heart must be filled with hate.
Yes, you must feel the hate coursing through you at
Yes.
every waking hour. And since I have just preached the gospel of magnesium glycinate to Kirk for 10 minutes before we started this, I could say in my sleeping hours, I have much less hate.
We could make a whole podcast of our before the podcast conversation.
This is Bad Lit Friends After Dark. If
That's
you
right.
want to hear us, if you want to hear our pre-chats, let us know. It will cost you $5 a month on Patreon.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. It's good
For
stuff,
for
too.
for
We
true
talk some
fans
shit,
only.
don't we? We talk some shit.
We talk some shit. Not ready for the podcast shit. That 100% would
Definitely
get
must
us
be
canceled.
paywalled. Yes, yes.
God, I think we need like at least 5 paywalls to get past some of this.
You pay $5 a month to get to the $10 a month paywall.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So this week we are talking about BookTok, the bad, the badder, and the ugly, and like the one little good thing that I can say about it. I will start off by saying this. My TikTok algorithm has changed completely from being cats and makeup tutorials to some of the shittiest BookTok content out there. This is what I do for you, our listeners. I
Yeah, this
am
is why
a
I left this to
sacrifice.
you, because mine is filled with
Yes,
pugs, and I kinda
this is a
I
good
don't
thing.
wanna lose that. Yeah, I don't
I
wanna lose that.
need to retrain mine to bring me back to cats and blusher tips so that I don't get blush blindness, which is a thing. So I've done this all for you. But it's not all doom and gloom. There are some good points. We'll put them at the start because they're fast,
Alright.
in my opinion. But before that, how's your writing going, Kirk?
Yeah, my writing is so my new writing, and I mentioned this in the previous podcast, but so I am getting a book ready. This was a book that died on sub, so I'm going to indie publish it now. I'm getting this book ready. So my writing on my like work in progress, which was my horror novel, is my horror novel. So that's kind of ground to a halt right now while I get this book like pristine. So I've been going through it again. I'm just kind of brushing up the language. I also mentioned like last time, I think I'm a better writer than I was when I wrote this book. And so I'm going through and I'm kind of rewriting some stuff. So in that respect, my writing is going very well because the book that I will eventually deliver, I think is just going to be, high grade. But it does come with the sacrifice that my current book is just kind of sitting aside right now waiting for me to come back to it. But I'm having a lot of fun. It's really kind of fun to revisit what you would have considered a completed book and kind of coming back to it and seeing how like not quite so complete you it was. I mean, I still think it was a really good book or is a really good book. I feel like though that I'm just making it better. So that's how my writing is going. How's yours going?
Well, I had said on our last episode that I'd be getting to the smut, but I spent, well, actually, it was a slow writing weekend last weekend for various reasons, but
Mhm.
I stalled getting to the smut. So this weekend is smut weekend.
Okay.
Smut-tasia tomorrow. So just building it up, building it up. Did a lot of
Yeah.
useless research or semi-useless research on the Bluebeard myth, um, which I then fell into a complete and utter research hole about, which was entertaining but did not produce any more than 385 words on Saturday. But I did manage to squeak out 1,100 words. The end is in sight.
Right. Go you.
The end is in sight, and then, I got the wonderful experience of last Saturday handing over 4 chapters to one of my alpha readers. in like printed out actual ones, and she was so excited. Angela, I love you. And I am also always so delighted at how delighted you are to receive these physical copies from me.
Oh,
So,
that's nice.
and
Good job,
yeah, and then
Angela.
I talked her through the end of the book and then through the 3-book series arc, and she loves it all. So, just pushing on ahead. She also told me that I should write book 2 in that series next. Maybe not
Mhm.
the political satire. So we shall
Hmm.
see.
Let's talk TikTok.
Lord, okay. TikTok, book talk. How did
Oh,
we
I'm
get
sorry.
here?
Let's talk book talk.
Oh, should we talk book talk? Yeah. How did we get to book talk? How did book talk come about? Now, again, because I am a generous soul, I did some research for everyone about book talk, and I wish I hadn't, but now I will share it with you. And I learned some stuff because, like a lot of really weird ass shit that we now accept as completely normal in our lives, book talk is a product of the pandemic. Yeah. Not just like, wow, do I
Yeah.
have enough toilet tissue? Also, book talk. Um,
Yeah. Do I have enough content? Yeah.
this is always a problem. So book talk, which is essentially it's the book community on TikTok, right? A portmanteau, if you will, exploded during the COVID lockdown periods. Lockdown in serious scare quotes in America because I lived through it. I was able to go to restaurants and pick up stuff. So it was not a lockdown. So this is 2020, 2021. People are stuck at home. They're looking for entertainment, they're looking for community. Most of us lived through it. If you weren't living through it, maybe you were, I don't know, in Antarctica or I don't know. I don't think we have a lot of 5-year-olds listening to the podcast, but maybe we do. So people are looking for something to fill that community
Yeah.
lack of community that they have. I mean, I don't want to trigger too many people because
I
it was
mean, I
really hard
joked
for a
about
lot of people.
content, but I do remember during the pandemic, like, TikTokers and YouTubers were actually like complaining that because of the lockdown and everything, like content was getting harder to create.
Yeah. And there was
Yeah.
some amazing creative moments that came out of that time. New ways of looking at performance, at writing, at music, visual art. There was a flowering of the arts, and we were able to see it because a lot of us had more time. Not me. I was stuck in discovery hell and my job. But a lot of people were able to look at it. So TikTok was really taking off during that time, and the algorithm starts pushing book-related content to wider audiences, and all of a sudden, there were more videos getting lots of views, people doing having very dramatic reactions to books or doing readings. So a small niche community becomes a much larger cultural force. And from my understanding, from my research, which I will assure you took all of 20 minutes, by the end of 2020, beginning of 2021, publishers start noticing that books that were recommended on Book Talk are selling out. And that includes not only new books, but backlist stuff that they're starting to hit bestseller lists again. Okay, cool. And as we start coming out of the pandemic, publishers are creating these Book Talk recommended tables. Publishers are tracking what's trending on TikTok. And the industry is looking at Book Talk as a sort of kingmaker, if you will. Certain books get picked up by the algorithm. Somebody makes a video like, oh my God, this is the best book ever. Super emotional. It goes viral. Lots of people see it. Bookstores can't keep it in stock. Some examples, let's start with a less evil one. Song of Achilles went viral in
Mhm.
2020. It was originally published in 2011. It became a bestseller again. And then
It's
It
one of my
Ends With
favorite
Us by
books,
Colleen Hoover.
which is not one of my favorite
Not
books.
It Ends With Us. No, it is not. It was published in 2016, and in 2021, it went crazy. So here's the question. What is it about TikTok specifically, as opposed to Instagram, i.e. Bookstagram, or
Mhm.
Book Twitter
Mhm.
or BookTube? What is it? It is the algorithm. The algorithm on TikTok is brilliant. I love to see videos of cats because I am a cat lover. I also like to see videos of people putting on makeup. I love makeup. And the
Mhm.
more that I look at these videos, the more it pushes them to me. I've gotten to see this. Shane, my fiance, recently got a TikTok account and he does outfit of the day posts. His outfit of the day being consistently every single day the exact same outfit. That is his outfit of the day. I love him. Black t-shirt and jeans.
Brilliant. It's brilliant.
This is the Gen X uniform. But when he started, all he was getting was like these young fitness models. And he was like, why am I getting this? I'm like, you need to click away from those instantly if you're not interested, or it will keep sending them to you. So even if you're watching it for 5 seconds going, why the fuck am I getting this? That goes, Shane likes these fitness models, more fitness models. So it's a brilliant, diabolical algorithm.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
unlike Instagram or old Twitter, and especially modern Blue Sky, you're seeing people that you follow, people that you know. TikTok is not like that. You are seeing randos. So book content is getting way outside of its community, right?
Instagram's algorithm is completely inexplicable to me. I don't understand it. There are people that I follow that I constantly click on it, and they do show up on a more regular basis, but then I just get stuff that I have no interest in.
Mhm.
Um, and
Mhm.
it might be in an attempt to, like, "We're just gonna throw this at you and maybe you'll like it, and then we'll give you more of that." I don't know what that is, but just the weirdest shit comes up in my Instagram feed, and I'm like, I don't want this." So you're right.
No.
TikTok's algorithm really dials it in. I mean, for people like me, so I'm gonna contradict myself here now. I do like to see a variety of things though also, right? So, right, I was joking earlier that, I like to see pugs. So, pugs is what I get, and pugs is what I get, and pugs is what I get. And so I think, yeah, TikTok really dials that algorithm in a lot harder.
Yep. And you also have the format. These are short form videos.
Yes.
Occasionally, you will get one that is 5 minutes long. Now, this is mostly it's political content that I see
Mhm.
that's quite long, but mostly, it's a minute, maybe 2.5 minutes.
Right. Yes. Yes. Our older viewers will remember Vine, right? It was the same
Mhm.
type of thing.
Mhm.
Vine died. So I wonder, like, what is it about TikTok that fixed Vine?
Longer,
I don't know.
longer form.
Longer
It's
form,
short,
yeah.
but longer, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's got the same thing. It feels unpolished often. It feels very real. It feels like you are stepping into somebody's life often. Somebody's in their car, somebody's in their kitchen, somebody's at their desks. They're showing you, "This is my world. Here are my
Yes.
shelves. This is all real. This is my real life." Not the influencers, that are getting paid millions of dollars, but these smaller accounts that occasionally just get whacked into you and you're like, "Oh, that's somebody like me."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even old farts like us, I get, like, all this fucking Gen X content, and I'm like, "Oh, she's like me." And
Huh?
it's just not just like, "Gen X, we all drank out of the hose, and therefore we're all tough," but, just thoughtful kind of critiques of self and of culture, and because there is enough that is useful or interesting or provocative, you stay. You get into infinite scroll, right? Also, it's very easy to make a TikTok video. It's a lot easier than editing a YouTube video. Ask me how I know, just putting fucking YouTube content on for us. It is easier
Mhm.
than creating, perfect Instagram content.
Mm.
It is if you are somebody who's just like, "I got a thought."
Yeah.
No, no, part of it is this is real. I'm a real person, right? So we connect with these real people more easily than, Mr. Beast. So I'm
Mhm.
actually embarrassed that I'm this old and I know who Mr. Beast is, but whatever. So it's easy to consume, easy to make, highly shareable. book content's getting pushed to people who thought of themselves as not being book people before. So we get exponential growth. We also couple that with pandemic lockdowns, people looking for escapism, and also emotional content. People who are gushing over books. Oh my God, this book changed my life. So TikTok is rewarding these videos that have high emotions. So crying, laughing, shock, blah, 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 right? And books are going to generate that kind of content, that kind of reaction in a way that maybe music, even, or especially like visual art, might not. Even movies might not. There's something very intimate in the experience of reading a book where there is no intermediary of the lens of the camera coming between the author and the consumer. So it's very immediate. Books were waiting for more readers, and they got them. And BookTok, you
Mhm.
know, this is where I launch into my next segment about why BookTok is not all bad. Okay, this is a short segment. What BookTok has been very good about is getting people very excited about reading.
Mhm.
It has expanded the audience. People, as I said just a moment ago, people who didn't think about themselves as being readers now realize, hey, I'm a reader. And
Mhm.
that's wonderful. Backlist titles have been revived. So in my week of hell in Book Talk, I have seen some books that I fucking love being lauded. I mean, old books like these 30s, 40s women's fiction, deep cuts from like the Virago Press. Beautiful
Mhm.
books. So excited to see people talking about I didn't know anybody else was talking about these books. So wonderful. Also great for debut authors to get boosts. Wonderful. Indie
Yeah,
authors
yeah.
getting boosts. Wonderful. Today, one of the comments that we had when we posted on Blue Sky about our interview with Isaac last week was that we're giving indie authors a platform on this show. They need more platforms, and Book Talk does that. It's something it does really
Sure.
well, not just from readers, but also from the authors themselves. And it's wonderful, truly wonderful. It
Mhm.
also, reading has become social. Um, it's something that it's also helped book clubs flourish. You get diverse recommendations. It's like, look, if you have indie authors in the space, you are getting all sorts of voices that get cut out of trad pub for many different reasons. You also get younger people who get interested in having physical books. It's great. This is a great place if you are a person who is an indie author with a debut book. You can, if you know how to work the algorithm, do not ask me. I am an old. I do not know how to do this. But if you can figure it out, this is a great way of getting shit going. Maybe we should ask Isaac because he seemed to have his shit together
That's
about
right.
this
He
stuff.
seems to know what he's
He
doing,
seems
right?
to know what he's doing.
You made a really good point about people getting interested in physical books again, because that's a really big
Mhm.
TikTok thing, right? Like, nobody's holding their Kindle in front of them and saying, "This is a great book," right? Like, they're holding, or nobody's doing book haul videos of like, "Look at all these ebooks I just purchased."
You gave me a great
Right?
idea. You gave me a great idea. This is how I start my TikTok channel. It's me with my Kindle. Look at all these books I bought.
It's perfect. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So it's gotten people interested in physical books,
Yes.
right? Because you can show off a physical book, and that's a great thing too.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, wonderful. It is there. We talked about this quite early on in the podcast is the idea that beautiful books are somehow not a good thing because, oh, they're just decorative. No, they're still books. They're still beautiful, and people still want to hold physical
Mhm.
objects, and especially younger generations, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, who are digital natives. You and I are in a straddle generation who grew up with physical and also were early adopters in our 20s and early
Yeah.
30s of
Yeah.
digital content. So we know it both. And
I just, as a complete aside too, I was at Barnes& and Noble this weekend. There was a whole table, and a big table, not one of the small tables. There was a whole big table of sprayed edge
wow.
books. So across genres, it's like that was the theme of this table was sprayed edges, and
Wow.
all of these books had sprayed edges. So like, yeah, so that's a thing now.
It's so cool. It's so cool. As a former bookseller, it is so cool to see people excited about physical books.
Mhm, mhm.
And I also say this as somebody who mostly consumes my reading through digital content. Occasionally, I'm like, I have to have the physical product. This is naughty of me. I know this. I'm very aware of this, but I am busy, lazy, and also, just a capitalist pig. So I have many things that are wrong about me. And, feel free to rate me about all the things that you think are wrong about me. I probably already know them. But maybe my consumption of digital products is low, but these are the good things. Kirk, we are now going to get into the shit list. I mean, look, that's what you came for. You came for us to shit on Book Talk. I put in like half an ounce extra of vodka into my vodka tonic before we started, so I'd be all loose so we can talk about this. Okay, so number one, what I have called the same goddamn 10 books problem.
Mhm.
Shall we think about the algorithm as an Ouroboros, right? So the algorithm rewards what's already popular. You keep seeing things again and again, and so you might get an inflated idea of what's actually popular. It is popular because you are told it is popular.
You also might get an inflated idea of what is good.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Now, good is, of course, a subjective adjective.
Mhm.
But okay. So,
But I
let's
think we can agree that there has been some objectively just really bad stuff that has been so incredibly popular. I'm jumping ahead, I know. But
it's fine. Just let it out. Let the freak flag fly. Let's do it now. Come on.
I think we can all think of at least one example of where just awful books are being promoted by, eventually by the big five, right? Because
Yeah.
they're selling books. So, if somehow this terrible book is getting sales because the algorithm has been putting it on repeat, eventually, you've got these terrible books show up in
Ugh.
a Barnes and Noble. Anyway, I digress. I don't digress.
Yeah.
This is what we're talking about. Yeah.
No, it's and when we say horrible, we do not mean like we are what we are saying here is our personal opinions and
Mhm.
they are taste related. Your hot takes are only your takes. And neither Kirk nor I would ever stop people from reading what they want to read or say ban this book.
I would judge you for reading it, but yeah.
That's fine. I can live with it. I can live with it. But I can't think of a book that is published by a big 5 imprint or really any imprint that I can think of or, self-pub that I would say, "No." Unless it's, like, genuine, like, legally obscene content, I
Right,
have
right.
no problem with people consuming this. So, I say that Kirk and I were talking before we again, subscribe to Bad Lit Friends
Yes.
After Dark, and you can hear about this content, but we were talking about VC Andrews, and I read a lot. I read Flowers in the Attic when I was a teenager and My Sweet Audrina, and I dude, that's some weird ass shit.
Yeah, and that was the '70s, right? Like,
80s? I don't know when it came.
was it
I
'80s?
read it in the 80s. So,
Okay.
I
I
am
mean,
but a tiny
to be
child.
fair, the '70s and '80s were kind of a wild time for books
Dude,
anyway, so
dude, even the early to mid 90s in romance novels, highly
mhm,
problematic, extremely
mhm,
rapey, but
mhm,
You know,
yeah,
I live to tell the tale. So, I'm not gonna say don't read this, but I will say this. I tried to read Colleen Hoover's It Ends With Us. I
mhm.
decided I needed to know and understand why this book was very popular. I read a chapter and I abandoned. I DNF'd. I couldn't get it. It's not that it was the content, although I unfortunately have watched half of the movie before I heard about the lawsuit. It was not to my taste. That is a very kind way. I did not it wasn't the topic in that chapter that put me off. It was the style. It was not to my taste.
Mhm.
And I didn't understand because I've seen similar content done very intelligently, very snappily. I found it
Mhm.
a bit boring. My taste, just my
Yeah.
taste.
Well, and I'll just say, like, my personal taste really runs to not abusive to lovers, right? I just if the relationship starts out with one of the partners being very abusive to the other and then it ends in a romance, it just is not for me. And yeah, I'm gonna be a little judgy if that is for you.
Yeah.
I I don't un I just don't understand that, like, what the appeal of that is.
It's hard. I mean, my understanding is that sometimes people read taboo stuff or difficult things to work through issues in their own lives, you know.
Sure, sure.
And sometimes it's purely fantasy. Like
Mhm,
some people who would not read high fantasy necessarily, with warlocks and dragons might like this fantasy where they are letting go or they're not accountable, or there's something where they need to
mhm,
be released.
mhm.
I get it. And I say this as someone who read looking back, highly problematic, rapey romance books in the late
Yeah.
80s and early 90s because that was what was on sale. But those always ended up with, I was talking to Kirk about this before we started again, Bad Live Friends After Dark, $5 a month. I was saying,
We're gonna make bank,
we're gonna make a
Meagan.
lot
We're
of
gonna make
money.
bank. Yeah.
They start out with a borderline non-consensual encounter that quickly moves into attraction. And then
Mhm,
it moves on to overcoming some other outside problem. It is one event, not that that's saying it's okay, but it's one event, not like these other books where things keep happening again and again and again and again. And you're like, oh my God. And if that is your bag, I am not shitting on you. I want to be absolutely crystal clear. If you like that kind of narrative, I get that that is for you. It is not for me. It is a taste thing. Art is inherently subjective. So that I do not like Colleen Hoover, who was pushed by BookTok. Okay. On the other hand, I do like or have liked until fairly recently Allie Hazelwood, who also really benefited from BookTok. I read The Love Hypothesis. I don't even know where I first read about it, but I was like, that looks smart. I like, smart romance. I'd been reading a lot of smart
mhm.
romance during the pandemic. Read it, absolutely loved it. Read the next two books that came after, loved them too. Then it started falling apart for me a little bit. And you know what? I stopped reading it, and that's okay. Also, Taylor Jenkins Reid, who is a genuinely good novelist.
Mhm.
Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, huge push through Book Talk. And then more recently, Alchemized that we talked about, which I'm going to retract the comment I made in the Hot Goss segment that we talked about Alchemized. Where I said, maybe I'll wanna read do not wanna read Alchemized now that I know more about it, have absolutely no interest in it. But
Yeah.
Alchemized also has benefited from Book Talk. This is essentially rinse and repeat again and again and again. It feels like generations, people. It has been but 6 years, and yet it feels like a whole goddamn generation. Yeah, this is an echo chamber that's really hard to break out of.
And again, it is that problem, you just said it. It's an echo chamber, right? And so the good stuff tends to get promoted, but the bad stuff tends to get promoted. And it also leads into not just what we're talking about right now is taste, right? It's promoting these books that suck. Well, Kirk thinks they suck. Maybe Megan doesn't think they suck. Megan would be
I
wrong,
probably do.
but it then goes down into takes, right?
Mhm.
And in social media, it's the bad takes that get promoted over the good takes.
Mhm.
And so that holds with book talk as well.
Controversy. So that's what the algorithm rewards is
Mhm.
emotion, hot takes, stitches, reposts. If we were whatever the book talk equivalent of subtweeting is, all of that gets boosted. We've talked about it before. It's like being in the high school bathroom where it's all innuendo in the worst parts of the book talk space to our baser instincts of slash and burn, hurt, get the likes for clicks. It's bullshit. I'm getting ahead of myself here because I have more comments, but I do have an outline, people. I do write a script for these every week. So believe it or not, the only thing I wanted to point out here again is that certain genres are overrepresented, and readers can get very bummed out when the reality doesn't match the hype that they
Mhm,
get
mhm.
about a particular book. So it's everybody loves it. Why not me? What's wrong with me? What you like is what you like. You don't have to apologize for it unless it's Nazi content, in which case you need to look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself a lot of questions. But if it is like Colleen Hoover, or I like Akatar, or I like Fourth Wing, and this person says they don't like it, Meagan says, Akatar is, I'm not going to say that, but it's not to my taste, then I'm a bad person or I don't have any taste. And if you are thinking that, I'll let you know I have some very bad taste. So if you're basing yourself on my taste, don't do it. Identify what you like. Fuck it. Honestly, it is. I can't. I'm going all. I am breaking out of my own script here. I
You're
have
going
feelings,
crazy.
many feelings, but uh, BLF after dark. Just popping into the free feed. I'm already calling it the free feed because I believe that we will have this. One day, I'm going to manifest this. Switching gears slightly. Let's talk about performative reading and aesthetics, which we have talked about before or touched on before. So, Kirk, I have a question for you. Book hauls.
Mhm.
Do you have any real problems with this?
Wouldn't say I have a problem with it. I do think it's silly and performative. Just to say that. On the other hand, when somebody goes out and buys a lot of books, that's great for the author, that's great for the publisher, that's great all around, right? So, yeah, you go out and you buy 100 books and you show them off on TikTok, that is great for, that whole chain. So, in that respect, yeah, I'm a big book haul supporter, uh, but it is a little silly.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with you. Is it? Do you see a problem where it is something where the haul is purely for content as opposed for consumption?
In other words, there's no way they're reading all those books. Is that what you're
Yeah, or
implying?
it's just like, look, I bought all of these books because it's the thing. I
Mhm.
being like bookishness as identity, right? That
Yeah.
I am a bookish person.
Yeah, I hope well, here's what I hope doesn't I hope that it doesn't put pressure on people who cannot afford to go out and
Mhm,
buy, 20, 30, 50, 100 books at
mhm.
a time. So that's really I guess I would say, that I hope that. As far as, like, people identify, "Oh, I am such a bookish person because look at my bookshelf behind me. It's all organized by color," or something. Um,
Yeah,
Again, I think it's silly. I think people should do what they want as
I
long as
agree.
they're not hurting anybody,
I agree.
but it is silly.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't disagree with you.
The whole performative, my identity is all wrapped up in this owning of these physical pieces of paper. I don't know if that's harmful or not, but again, do what moves you as long as you're not hurting anybody. But yeah, just know that I'm gonna think you're weird.
Yeah, no argument there. I also have to say that to me, it smacks a little bit of the in earlier years of the, "Oh my god, I'm such a nerd because look at me, and I've
Yes,
got, like, these
yes.
little glasses, and I wearing my like, this sweater or this band T-shirt and it's like, "Please,
Yeah, and those of us who were actually nerds,
did you really wanna be near us? We look, the fact
yeah.
that Kirk and I now smell good doesn't mean that we did back then. You might not have wanted to get too close back then. We are absolutely fragrant now, but,
Yes,
in a good way,
in a good way,
in a
yes.
good way. So it's kind of like, do you want the trappings and all like the accoutrements without actually doing the hard work of reading? And if you do I care? I shouldn't. I don't really. It's like, you do you, boo. Probably because I'm an
Mhm,
old now and I
mhm.
just don't care anymore. But again, it's kind of like, some of us had to work for it, but at the same time, I don't, despite being a writer who loves to read, don't identify as being a bookish person, even though I'm a former bookseller. I'm the daughter of a bookseller. It's not my identity. My identity is, quite frankly, asshole. So I, yeah, sorry, but if that's what you want to do, you're not harming anybody.
And you know what? If it takes if, some of these performative book people become actual book people,
Hmm.
then, maybe that's
Yeah,
a
it's
good
not
thing.
such a bad thing. God, we're getting all squishy.
Here well, so let me make it unsquishy
Okay,
then.
okay, good.
It can be toxic, right? And so
God, yeah.
if you're a bookish person and you're making content shitting on other people because they're not bookish enough or they're bookish in a different way,
Hmm.
like that's really toxic
Yeah.
and shame on
Oh,
you,
there's
don't do that.
plenty of it though. There's
Yeah,
plenty
yeah.
of it. It's, it kind of feeds into this idea of like, is book talk making reading worse, making people worse readers? And because they're not performing reading in an orthodox fashion, like
Mhm.
anything, like any of these in groups and out groups. And we're humans. We're kind of coded to create in groups and out groups, and if you are outside of the pale for whatever reason, it can come back and be, you can get canceled just for stating a not controversial but unpopular opinion.
Sure.
And who wants to be canceled on TikTok? Please. It is all sorts of randos, as we said at the start of the episode, are getting pushed content. People who are not in bookish spaces, but they may get pushed
Mhm.
content that is like, this person had this bad idea about ACOTAR. Let's get her. And um no. People, as we keep saying, books are taste. It is all down to taste. If you have a hot take, again, the private document with your burn book for you only exists. Also, small coteries of similarly minded people are good.
Mhm.
Also, if you are going to come with pitchforks, it is better. I'm not endorsing this and not saying I've done it before. I've totally done it before, but not on Book Talk. Organize privately so you have plausible deniability.
Absolutely.
Uh,
As we've said before, Megan and I have plenty of shit takes in private
mhm. Yeah.
that we only say, but I freely admit there are books I shit on. There are authors I shit on. You will never hear me say it publicly because that's not cool.
No, Kirk and I have long and storied troll backgrounds, and we learned a lot from being trolls. And one of the most useful, let's say, maybe not best, tips was, if you're going to do something that's shitty on the internet, figure it out, map it out privately before you go nuclear, because you want to have
Mhm.
people, you want to think it out, and you want to
Mhm.
be speaking from a place of authority. If it's just like, bitch, I hate Allie Hazelwood because blah, 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 all these STEM books, yada, yada, yada. You know, everybody's said it again and again and again. Have something interesting, have something new to say. If you're going to have a shit take, at least be funny, at least be witty, at least be original.
Mhm.
Jumping on bandwagons just makes you a follower. Don't be a
Yeah.
follower. Be a leader. Be an asshole in the
No
vanguard. So,
nobody likes pile-ons.
no,
Or if you do like pile-ons, you're probably not the kind
that's
of person
okay.
I
I'm not, your kink is your kink. That's fine.
like.
All good. But, there the other one of the other things I've thought about, having spent a week in book talk, is, are we, number 1, are we promoting sensationalism over actual, thoughtful content? And number 2, is there anti-intellectualism that is creeping in? So let's start with number 1. You and I had kind of a longish conversation about some of the more problematic content that we've seen. on, BookTok.
Mhm. Mhm.
I described one to Kirk that I saw yesterday, I think, where it was a, woman being dragged by her arm through a parking lot by a masked militia member, and then you hear in the background some man saying, "I'm her boyfriend, stop." And the woman who's being dragged says something like, "Keep going, daddy," to the guy who's dragging her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, if this is all consensual, I have no problem with it, but that wasn't what it was trying to get across. It's like,
It's pretty icky. Yeah.
especially right now where it was like, "Oh, maybe this is somebody from DHS." Yeah, maybe not cool. It was super icky. Oh, yeah, sorry, it was like, "Keep going, daddy." It was really gross. Yeah. Did I already say that? I don't know, but it was really gross.
Yeah. I don't yeah, it sorta goes back to the books that go from non-consensual to lovers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Again, it's a
it's
taste
not my
thing. It's
jam.
a taste thing, but to me, it was ew. It's one thing to read it, I think, and another thing to see it. I found it kinda gross.
Well, and again, it's that's is the dark side of the algorithm. The algorithm is going to push controversy, right? And so people know that the more controversial
Oh, yeah.
their takes are or their content is, the more engagement they're gonna get.
The comments were something.
Oh, I bet.
The half of them
But they were comments,
there
weren't
were
they?
comments, what
Yeah.
the half of them thought it was hot, half of them were like, "Please, please leave the planet." And then also, like, going to anti-intellectualism, which, and that's kind of a loaded term,
Mhm.
but
Hey, I love a good fart joke, right?
God, if you hang out with me, you will hear at least 2 fart jokes a day.
Yeah,
Um,
so
but what I
nothing wrong with a little bit of light
no, no. What I
anti-intellectualism,
think I'm
sure.
talking about more is ambiguity in books, complex prose, complex plotting, unclear or unsatisfactory endings, and that the expectation that everything needs to be tied up with a bow at the end. Not every book is going to be like that. And if that's not your
Mhm,
bag, it's not your bag. But
mhm,
nobody's giving out gold stars after maybe 6th grade for finishing a book. I mean, it's you don't have to get to the end and be like, "I fucking hated it." You could just
yeah,
stop. You can say, "You know what? I don't like it," or "I don't like the way it's going," or "It's too complicated," or "I can't follow the plot," which all of these things could be totally true. It's too complicated. The plot is indecipherable. It could also be you don't like that kind of narrative. But to say, people who like this, like, "Oh, gross." Again, taste. So much of this is taste. I am talking
or the
myself off the
or that
tree, aren't I?
I think you might be.
Good God! Do I hate myself more than I hate TikTok? I don't know. I don't know. And again, it's kind of like how much of this is generational gatekeeping. That, I was raised to read difficult books, with unsatisfactory endings, or I was the 8-year-old reading Charles Dickens, which I was. So therefore I am somehow superior.
Sure, sure. Well, and 2, you can never discount that somebody is just making content. There was that TikTok video where the woman went on a rant about what was it? This book had too many words
Oh
on a
my
page or
god, it
something
was
like that?
too many words. There I
Yeah.
only also, don't forget, I only read dialogue.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so way too much description.
I'm not convinced that that was real. Maybe it's turned out that it wasn't real and I just haven't.
If it was real, I am praying for
Yeah,
you.
God help us all if it was real. I like to think that it really was just somebody making content to farm
You're such
outrage,
an
you know?
optimist.
I have to believe this, Meagan, I have to believe it.
Look, if it was, I will put this to you. If it was, she got it from somewhere.
Mm,
She saw
mhm.
it in a stray comment on
Could be,
evil,
could
evil,
be.
evil threads or similar and decided, "You know what? That's great content. I bet I'm going to get people so outraged when they hear that all I do is read dialogue, or I only wanna read books that have lots of spice, plenty of spice, 5 chili peppers, not Megan's marinara, not Kirk's ketchup. It's gotta be the hottest chili peppers.
That's right.
And I only read the dialogue. I don't even wanna read the mechanics. I'm only reading them going to Pound Town as they
Yeah.
speak it.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? You do you, boo. But you know that a lot of people will have comments, and that's probably what you want. I guess it comes down to me, like, I can't imagine creating content where I was actively seeking people to hate me unless I was doing it in an alternate persona, which I have done. I have
Right.
done that, and it's fun, but not me with my real, like, government name attached to it.
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
I need to have, a different moniker, but these are people's real names as far as I can tell. I don't know. Maybe I'm old,
Well, there is that. We are old.
objectively, you know. We may not sound old. We may, Kirk often talks about 6, 7.
That's right, that's right.
That doesn't mean
And
that
I
he
know exactly what it means too.
absolutely, he knows what I've said the words "skibbity toilet" more than once on this podcast,
Yeah, yeah.
but we are indeed of an older class. Not the oldest, thank God, but it is still inscrutable to me. We are of a generation where if you're going to have shit takes on the internet, you do that under a pen name
Mhm,
because you
mhm.
don't want that shit coming back to haunt you. Because it will. If you are Gen Alpha, first of all, go with God. Number 2, don't associate your real name with some of your worst takes, okay? This is your mom telling you.
I've said this before, I'll say it again, I'm so glad that we didn't have cell phones or the internet when I was in high school because I would be so canceled.
Here endeth the lesson. Book talk. Wow. Cultural juggernaut and some good stuff. Mostly I'm gonna be
Yeah.
spending, some time retraining my algorithm because I
Yeah, good luck with that.
it's gonna take another week at least. So, let's do some hot goss.
Alright, let's do it.
Okay. Let's talk some, Amazon shit
Mhm.
because capitalism bad, as always. Why don't you lead on this one?
Yeah, so Amazon sent out an email. I got the email
Mhm.
'cause, I have a Kindle, and basically Amazon are cutting off Kindles that are I think it works out to be about 11 years old or older, maybe 13 years. In any case, if you have an old Kindle, you will be cut off, and what this means is that any content that exists on that older Kindle, still there, you can still read it, but if your Kindle ever dies, um and you have to, like, factory reset it or something, that's it, like, your content on that Kindle is gone. You must buy a new Kindle, and so this is clearly a grab. I mean, I can't even believe, like, I'm saying this and people are going, "Well, duh," but, it's obviously Amazon wants to sell more Kindles, right? So they want your old Kindle that you've been perfectly happy with to go into the dump, and, so they want you shelling out more money. I will say this, there are, there are Kobo readers that are that old that continue to be supported by Kobo. So, take that as you will. But yeah, it's a really shitty thing
Mhm.
because it's not like there's anything about these older Kindles that make them incompatible with the way that ebooks are delivered through the Kindle pipeline, if you will,
Mhm.
right? That there's just no technical reason that they have to do this. So it is clear, yes, capitalism bad.
Yep.
Clearly
Planned
a grab.
obsolescence, not just for,
Yeah.
refrigerators, also for
So it
Kindles. Yeah, it's dumb. It's bad enough that they locked us into not being able to download our books anymore from Kindles,
Mhm, mhm.
and now they're taking this away from us as well. Yes, Kindle bad,
So
Bezos
it
bad.
is the enshittification of the Kindle. I posted this to, Blue Sky last week, but, just so you know, if you do decide to switch to Kobo, Kobo has a price match guarantee. You have to kinda jump through a little bit of a hoop, but let's say that, you buy a book on Kobo and it's $2 more than it would have been on your Kindle. You can actually there's a form you fill out and Kobo will reimburse you that $2 price difference,
Mhm.
plus 15%.
Nice.
Yeah. So, um I just learned that. I've been using a Kobo now for a little over a year. I
Mhm.
think it's been over a year, and, I just now learned that, and I'm like, "Oh, man, I could have saved myself some money."
I have had, a Kindle Fire, HD for I don't know how many maybe 6 years, and the
Mhm.
same one. Very happy with it.
Yeah.
I can read all sorts of stuff on it. I can read my Libby library books on it. I can watch
Mhm.
movies on it, read PDFs on it, EPUBs, all sorts of things. And mostly I use it to fall asleep to using my podcast app because
Yeah.
I've been listening to the same.
Oh, you listen to Bad Lit Friends, do
Oh,
you?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I listen to Bad Lit Friends. It puts me to sleep.
To put
That
you to
put me to
sleep.
sleep. No. I've been listening to actually it is do you know the Revolutions podcast?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I've been listening to Revolutions for well, but it's Mike Duncan's Revolutions. And
Mhm.
if listeners are unfamiliar with it, he goes through different revolutions. He goes like the American Revolution, the English Civil War, French Revolution, various South American revolutions, Russian Revolution. I've been making my way through the French Revolution for the better part of a year because I keep falling asleep. It takes me about a month to get through a half an hour episode because of my magnesium glycinate, which puts me right to sleep. But I still, because when I was growing up, my dad, this is how old I am. My dad taped for me off of NPR the Lord of the Rings that they were playing that had been on, I guess, like BBC Radio 4, it must have been.
Yeah.
And so I grew up as a tiny child listening to this on a cassette player every night as I went to sleep.
Your
And
dad is a
my dad
hero.
is fucking awesome. And he did play this for me every night to put me to sleep. So now I need people telling me to go to sleep by reading stories to me. It doesn't mean I'll get to listen to a lot of them. But it does put me to sleep. So book talk. Huh. Oh. Well, I'm still not convinced, although I'm so nice that I almost talked myself into giving people a lot more grace than they deserve. All I'm gonna say is the algorithm giveth, it taketh away, and controversy is what's gonna get the clicks. We all know that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Book talk sucks most of the time, not always. Some good stuff happens. Read more widely.
Here's a hot take. You don't need book talk to read a book.
Shock. Oh
Crazy,
my
right?
god.
Yeah. Like,
Or a Kindle.
read what you wanna or a Kindle, yeah. Read what you wanna read. Enjoy what you wanna enjoy. Don't
Wild.
feel bad about it. Yeah.
What? I'm not gonna be canceled,
Well, I didn't say that, but
Okay. Yes. No
you read some
guarantees
pretty
are made.
pretty interesting stuff,
Yeah,
Meagans.
well, I do. Well, I've read a lot of VC Andrews, not in a while. But, speaking of VC Andrews, I know somebody who has read a lot of VC Andrews, and Kirk is on vacation next week, and
Mhm.
we are having a special guest co-host, playwright, culture critic, VC Andrews reader, my BFF since college, my best babe at my wedding in 2 months, and all around badass Regina Robbins is going to be on talking about something writing related. Very possibly about how she has made a career out of writing. And she's also really fun. She's had her own podcast before, and she's much better at all
I
of this
feel
than
like
me.
I'm about to be replaced. She sounds amazing.
She is absolutely fucking amazing. I am forever in awe of her, and she puts up with my bullshit. And she also occasionally laughs at my jokes, much like you.
Uh,
So,
well, yeah, we have that in common.
yes. Also, want to say a big thank you to YouTube commenter Murat Kurt 7262, who gave us a very lovely comment. He thinks we are amazing and really interesting, which I'm glad we fooled you into believing these things about us. But
I
seriously,
thought it
thank
was
you.
a really
It was
nice
really
comment,
nice. Thank
yes.
you.
Yeah, thank you.
We love your comments. Again, we are Badlit friends on all of the socials, on Blue Sky, on Instagram, on Threads. If you haven't listened to our interview with Isaac Grijalva about his debut novel, Six and a Half Days in the
Yeah,
City, please go listen to it.
yeah. Such a good
We
episode.
had so much fun doing it. And you can also find us on YouTube. where you can also leave us a comment. You can find us on Spotify. Again, please follow us on Spotify because it does help other people find our podcast.
Mhm. Mhm.
Leave comments. We do read them. We do comment on all of them because, you know, we may act like jackasses on here, but genuinely, like, the fact that anybody listens to us at all, it blows us away all the time. And when we say thank you, we absolutely mean it from the bottom of our hearts. Our bottom of our
Absolutely, yeah.
cold, black hearts. Shriveled, very deceased. But until next time, where Kirk will not be replaced, I promise, we shall see you then.
Bye.